These episodes today were kind of, or the episodes that we're talking about today, they were kind of snoozers.
Yes.
Besides the last one.
The last one got me a little bit, but yeah, these episodes definitely were. I had written some like a prediction down because there's something coming up, and I'm pretty sure it's in this season. There's something big coming up, and I thought it was happening in one of these episodes, and it turns out it didn't happen.
I think it might happen in the next one, because what I always do is...
Did you watch ahead?
I let the next one play just to see what's going on, and it seems like things are getting juicy with Pacey, Joey, jealousy issues in the next...
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so wait, don't Pacey and Joey get together at some point?
Oh, okay. Well, so if y'all... Yes, that's what I thought was going to happen in one of these 3 episodes. Is I thought there's a major kiss that happens between Joey and Pacey.
Well, because the last episode ends with Pacey watching her sleep or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, wait. Hold on. Let's try and do our awkward intro like we always do every week, every time we record.
And my favorite part of doing this.
It's all of our favorite parts, and then we'll get into talking about it.
What are you trying to say? Why are we standing? I don't moved on. It's very real. Was I supposed to spend the rest of my life feeling miserable on Basic TV?
Why are you with Shirley? God, why are you with me? I don't know why I'm still with you. I mean, I used to know, but I don't.
Basic Teen TV.
All right, guys, welcome to Basic Teen TV. Woo! My name is Melissa.
I'm Victoria.
I'm Cindy. Hi.
Hi. And we are halfway through season 3, right? Yeah, we're about...
Season 3 will never end.
Yeah, season 3 might never end.
Only 18 more seasons to go.
It's going to take the rest of our lives.
Dawson's Creek is still in the air, right? They're all 40 and they're getting divorced, custody agreements or whatever. I don't know.
And tonight we're talking about episodes 10, 11, and 12. All right, so let's get into it. Episode 10. So, Cindy, you kind of mentioned this already before we officially started recording, that these 3 episodes were all kind of snoozers, which I agree with.
Yeah, boring as fuck. I was waiting for some strippers. I was waiting for some drama. I was waiting for some mental institutions, and I got none of it.
No, it was all kind of wholesome-ish.
Yeah, and they were all kind of almost I don't know if existential is the right word, but it's all these 3 episodes were all about these kids learning more about themselves.
Yeah, they were all learning experiences.
Yeah.
And that's just really boring to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was no real true drama in any of these.
I guess this is a teen TV show, so they've got to sort of prepare kids for the real world and that teach them that their feelings are normal. But as a 40-year-old, I'm just boring.
Been there, done that.
This was 20 years ago. I've already figured myself out or whatever.
Dumbasses.
Or
stupid idiots.
Corporate job, gotta pay rent. Hey, guess what? Your existential crisis don't mean nothing in 20 years when your life is just a boring humdrum of staying afloat financially.
And there's a global pandemic.
Yeah, that too.
Oh my gosh. All
right, go ahead and find yourself, okay?
Damn. These episodes really pissed Victoria off.
They piss her off all the time. All the episodes piss
as
her
far
off.
As I'm concerned, having an existential crisis is a luxury. It's a luxury.
Yeah.
People who are just surviving their day to day don't think about that shit because they're busy.
They don't have time to think about it.
Yeah.
So episode 10 was called First Encounters of the Close Kind. How clever. And so Pacey is not in this episode at all.
Neither is Jen.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah, it's just an episode of all the fucking assholes that I hate watching, and I had to watch them for 45 minutes, and only them.
Wait, Jack was in it. You like Jack?
Jack was
I mean, he was
Jack
on
in it a lot.
He was a peripheral part of the episode, but he was in it. He tries to learn more about his gayness.
True.
Flipping
to get his gay on.
Flipping through the pink pages while everyone's trotting around Cambridge University, which I'm assuming is where they are, because they're somewhere close by because they all took a train there, and Andy goes into like the whole history of the school, and somewhere either someone said the name Cambridge or I saw it in a scene somewhere. Oh, I saw it when Dawson was handing in his film into whatever little film competition was going on at the university. There was a poster at the sign-up table, and it said Cambridge on the poster. So I just was like, oh, I guess they're at Cambridge University, which I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm guessing. So Dawson's kind of college campus tour has mostly to do with this film competition, and he finds a little, I guess, quote unquote friendly competition in some girl named Nikki, who I only recognize her from y'all are gonna laugh at me. I recognize her from that Julia Stiles movie, Save the Last Dance.
Never saw it, never even heard of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know who Julia Stiles is from other shit.
Is it called Save the Last Dance? I have to look it up now because
Wait, is Nikki, I made a little note about this, but I believe because she becomes a reoccurring character, and I believe she is the first Black character that is a guest star, right?
Yeah, that has like an actual role.
Yeah, though isn't just like in the background occasionally.
Or the principal.
I was gonna say, most of the
who is her dad, because there's two Black people in the show, and of course they're related.
Yeah, they're related. Duh. I mean, you think they're doing something like kind of progressive and cool, and then they go on and they turn them into father-daughter, which is really cool.
They are in New England in the 90s. So there's that one Black family per town. And
yeah.
So yes, they introduced Nikki. Although we don't really learn that she's going to become more of a recurring character until the very end of the episode. We just think that for a second I thought she was a college student.
Me too.
I didn't really quite get the fact that this little film competition, I guess, was for all the potential incoming students, is what I gathered at the end of the episode. So I thought she was a college student because she was checking people in. She was checking Dawson in for the thing. So
I mean, if I'm being honest, I didn't even learn that information until you told me just now. When I watch Dawson's Creek, sometimes there's just like an air of mystery, and I accept it. And I don't question it, and I just like move on to the next episode. So until you told me just now that none of those kids were college students, I would have had no idea. I still thought it was a college thing, and Dawson just like
wormed his way in.
I didn't even question it. I don't question any
that's
of it.
what I thought too. I thought that he was going, like there was some kind of college visit, and like he's like, well, I'm there. I'm going to enter my film in this like film festival because I think so highly of myself that I can compete with the college kids. Because what kind of school offers like a high school visitation weekend and then also
a university? Yeah,
and then also hosts a film festival. I also thought that she was a college student. It wasn't until the end of the episode where she's like, I'm, heading back home. School, high school.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So they're like all high school kids. They all just get together, and there's a film. There happens to be a film festival for high school kids of this university on like visitation weekend.
I feel like the only
I also
one
didn't know that she didn't finish high school until you said that just now, Victoria, because I thought that she was like going back to the high school where her dad's a principal to like help out, like to be a TA or something.
No, isn't she enrolled in the high school?
Well, so Nikki's parents are divorced, and she spends half the year with her mom and half the year with her dad. And even though Principal Green hasn't he been at the school for a full year already? Or are we still like just at the beginning of his tenure?
I have no
Quayside?
idea where we are in Dawson's Creek.
To Cindy's credit, I do think that they just try to like slip in these details that if you actually think about it, you're like, this doesn't make any fucking sense, but okay. So you're not supposed to think about it that much. Yeah, she's supposed to be splitting her time between her mom and her dad. And so she's supposed to finish out her school year at a different school while living with her dad, which if any teenager would call bullshit on that. But she's like, whatever, okay. And we see her room later, and her room is fully decked out like she fully lives there. Not just like she's staying there, and her real room is like at her mom's house. So whatever. I don't know. But
I feel
you just learn when it comes to Dawson's Creek, you just roll with it. Don't ask too many questions, you know?
Well,
Be like the woman that you were meant to be. Don't question things. Don't use your little woman brain and think. You just absorb information and agree.
I think this is also proof that the show was written for kids, because kids are not going to think this thoroughly about it and how things are supposed to connect together and how characters interact with each other or how they're introduced to each other. And yeah, I mean, because if I'm going to try and pretend that I remembered what this show was about when I was in high school, I mean, like, even if I did remember this show, you know, I could see myself as a high school kid not really thinking about this disconnect, you know?
You weren't worried about the details. You were thinking about the drama and the relationships, and you weren't like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean, like when Nikki comes onto the scene, I'm like, ooh, it's a new girl for Dawson. Where is this gonna go? What's gonna happen between them? Ooh, like, yeah, I definitely wasn't thinking like,
you weren't
wait
like,
a second,
how did Eve actually get up and down the entire East Coast without like money or family? How did she like work in the strip club?
Duh. The buses. We saw her on the bus. No, I think this is a 90s teen TV show. Not that much thought went into it. No 90s teenagers who are watching this are gonna like pick it apart on a podcast later.
I mean, this was definitely like,
yeah, they had
even
no idea in 1998 like in 2020 there would be 3 fucking bored assholes dissecting each episode.
I was gonna say, it's not just us. There are, I mean, I don't know if I should say this on our own podcast, but there are like several other podcasts out there that concentrate solely on Dawson's Creek, just like we're doing right now. So, I mean, I think the reason for that is that this show 20 plus years later is still being talked about, and, you know, people like me who try to reminisce about what they felt and what they were going through while they were watching this in high school. And yeah, I was going to say that the only one, in my opinion, for this particular episode, the only person who seemed to be doing an actual college campus tour and who possibly did it the proper way was Joey. Like, it sounded like she had officially signed up or applied for this campus tour weekend and had a room assignment and, you know, an actual current student who was supposed to show her around and maybe take her to a few classes so she could sit down on them and stuff. And I wasn't surprised by the fact that, of course, you know, some clerical error happened and they assigned her to stay at a boys' room because they thought she was Joseph Potter and not Josephine Potter. because I guess she wrote Joey on whatever application she had to fill out. So she ends up like rooming with some kid named AJ.
I liked AJ's whole vibe from the jump. Everyone's always so obsessed with Joey, and she gets away with whatever she wants because she's like so cute or whatever. And he's like, bitch, I'm working on a fucking paper. You could take your ass down the hall and go see what college is all about while I finish my paper. And he's sitting on his desk. He's sitting on a table.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember doing this in college. He's got his like
He's
the
sitting
old school Apple
He's
laptops
sitting
that are like, his is blue, I think.
Yeah, and he's sitting
And
he's sitting crisscross applesauce on the top of his desk. I was like, that's not how you sit at a desk.
I've never sat on a desk like that in my life.
You can get away with that when you're 19. Once you get to be 40, you can't sit like that because you're being
Even when I was 19, I didn't sit at my desk like that.
I'm sitting like that right now, but not on a desk.
No,
I never wrote papers on a desk.
You're in a field with horses running behind you.
Yeah, I know. This is very tranquil.
Yeah, so he totally, she shows up in his room and he's like, I'm looking for this girl. And he's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And then he lets her struggle a little bit. And then he's like, I'm your roommate, but also I'm busy right now. So just fuck off for a little while and whatever.
He also had a wonky eye, I noticed. So, like, he was looking at her with one eye, and then the other one was, like, over there. Like a gecko. And he's like, bitch, I'm busy sitting cross-legged on my desk with his gecko eyes. I was like, why did they cast this boy to air this on television? I don't know how you guys don't notice these things that I noticed. It was really bothering me.
You have a strange talent for some to make strange observations.
Well, I was like, they would never cast a female who had a fucking gecko eye to be broadcast on television. But this boy, they're like, yeah, fine.
That actor has done other stuff too. Also some pretty like basic bitch teen movies. Like he was in the prequel to Cruel Intentions. He was either in what was supposed to be the prequel to Cruel Intentions, or he was in Cruel Intentions 2 or something. I don't know. But he's done some other fabulous work. But I mean, like, they end up having a little love connection. Like, she goes to test out or go sit in on an English class, and it turns out that he's the TA for it. And he puts her on the spot and asks her what her favorite book is, and she says Little Women, and he just like cuts her down how it's, like cliche and trite, and how high school of you to like a book like Little Women. And then like he tries to redeem himself, and he takes her into this private hall of manuscripts or something, and shows her who wrote Little Women? I don't even know. I never read that book. Anyone?
My grandmother got it for me when I was a kid, and I wasn't into it, so I don't know. I mean, I think they said it in the episode, but
so none of us here, none of us here have read Little Women. Whoever the author is, he pulls out the copy that apparently she owned, or I don't know, had or whatever. And what really bothered me about this scene was that they weren't wearing gloves while holding that book. I was like, no doubt if this were like a legit.
That's what bothered you?
Speaking of observations, I was like, why aren't they wearing gloves? Shouldn't they be wearing like cloth gloves so their oily fingers don't get all over this book?
That's a very good point, actually.
I thought so.
But what bothered me the most is how he was staring at her. Like, it was the weirdest scene that I've ever seen on Dawson's Creek. He was just like staring at her, and then he started reading the book with her. Like, he would take I don't remember what role he was reading or whatever, and then he was like staring at her with those gecko eyes.
With his twinkly...
he was staring at her with one of his eyes.
With his twinkly gecko eye.
The other one was like over there. And I was like, oh my God, how did she not weirded out by this whole scenario.
So yeah, there's like a little awkward, weird, laughable spark that happens between AJ and Joey.
Okay.
So the other person is Andy, and
all her storylines are boring.
I know, 'cause she's boring.
I feel like
when she's out of the mental institution, she sucks.
I feel like they're trying so hard to find stuff for her to do in every episode, and she's not connecting to anything.
No, and she's gotten even like nerdier and more neurotic. Like every episode is just like an attempt for her to like, I don't know, do something. And she's just like really, really pushy and bossy.
Yeah, her storyline in this episode was her trying to get an appointment with this dean outside of her appointment time, because her appointment wasn't until like March or something, whatever. It's fall in this episode. And she keeps trying to like sweet talk her way into getting a thing. And then she even showed up early one day and she was like, well, maybe if he gets done with lunch early, then maybe he'll have time. Bitch, he's busy as shit talking to all these assholes. And he took a lunch break. You think he's going to like cut his free time short to talk to you? No. No.
Yeah, her level of overachieving entitlement is really irritating. Which is
Yeah.
But they do cut her down because she goes, the dean's secretary, who has like been a secretary there for like, 20 years or whatever, ends up having lunch with her, and then in the end she's like, oh, I got an interview, not the one I thought, but it was also really meaningful because she ends up like having this talk with this like career secretary woman who's like, life is about more than just like getting into college and being great at your career or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Tries to teach
I
her.
was like,
tries to give her a life lesson.
What?
They're just saying, like, trying to teach her a life lesson.
Yeah, but the woman was more like, baby, life is just what you make of it. And just because you don't get into a good college, don't mean that you won't have good experiences, baby. That's how they wrote this woman.
Yes, that's true. She's like some like sweet Southern. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like supposed to be like a sweet Southern black lady, and they wrote her. She was basically like, baby. Did she say baby? I don't think she did.
I don't think she says baby.
No, I don't think she was that dramatic.
She wasn't that grandmotherly.
But Andy would be.
She put Andy in her place.
Yeah.
In a nice way.
In a nice way. But they had lunch together, and I was like, Andy would end up befriending a 60-year-old woman out of this college experience. Like, she goes to try to accomplish something and ends up befriending a 60-year-old.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jack apparently tagged along even though he was not going to look at the college because he wanted to explore Cambridge's gay scene.
I think also this was like, I feel like up into this episode, they've also been trying to find ways to keep Jack in the fold. Like, not a lot's been going on with him other than his, which is a big deal. I don't want to like diminish what they were trying to do with his character, because it was important for the time, and it's, come back in our own current lives right now. But I just felt like they were not doing a very good job of developing his role as, the gay character on the show. And up into this...
What makes you say that? I'm so confused.
So I didn't quite understand, like, why he was tagging along. And, as far as I know, Cambridge is not known for its gay scene.
Yeah, I just want to tell Jack, like, get the fuck out. Go to San Francisco. Go fucking, like, anywhere else.
But I guess the whole idea...
Cambridge.
Yeah, but I guess the whole idea of, like, going to Cambridge, I mean, I guess it's, exponentially
it's a city.
right, bigger than Cape Side, and is going to have at least some sort of gay scene, gay neighborhood, gay club, whatever. I mean, they have the fucking Pink Pages in Cambridge, which is just like a gay Yellow Pages, I guess.
It was so funny to me because and this comes back to the 1-800 Red Roof Inn. How did anybody prior to the internet fucking exist when they left their hometown? And I know we've all done it. I've done it in the past where I've like left town, like in the 90s, and like managed to do things. But yeah, he like pulls out the Pink Pages and finds a gay bar.
There have always been like small newspapers and small magazines in local cities and towns, and they always have like a back section of their publication where those types of things run. Like even like in Dallas,
like nefarious activities,
right?
Or something.
Yeah, you have like the back pages. Yeah, where all the gay ads run, or where all the sex workers advertise. It happens in a lot of city, small to bigger cities. I get relative to I guess this fictional Cape Side place. So I mean, I wasn't surprised that he found kind of a directory of the gayborhood, but.
God bless America.
Freedom of the press.
That just always existed before Craigslist and the internet.
Yeah, you had to actually
a lot of other things also existed that were horrible, but like these activities have always taken place, and I just like that there was like a little outlet for people to.
I will say it was easy for me to grasp the idea that Jack was able to find a directory for the gayborhood, as opposed to like figuring out how, when we were in high school, we did book hotel rooms. I mean, yes, the 1-800 Red Roof Inn thing worked, but I mean, I'm with you guys that I still really can't remember how it is that we booked and paid for hotels when we were in high school. And yeah, well, so Jack does the 90s thing, and he looks in a directory of gay places.
He goes to a gay bar. Even though he's like 16.
I'm going to say he's 17.
And this is the saddest gay bar that I have ever seen. It was like a bunch of roly-poly 50-year-old men. They all look like they went to a Trump rally.
Really? They all look like
hobgoblins in a gay bar. Like, there's no way.
I don't remember. I mean, I don't remember it being that way.
No. I have a note right here. Jack goes to gay bar - a really lame gay bar. It was like dads in like chunky white sneakers and like puffy vests, all just like standing around having beers. And I'm like, I went to gay bars as a teenager in the 90s in small town Virginia. It did not look like that. It looked like what you thought it would look like. Fucking gay bar. Like fucking rainbows and shit. Glitter.
I mean, there are
gay
old
clubs.
Gay single men that need to go to gay bars. I get it. And they exist in every gay bar that not gay clubs, but gay bars. But this is a TV show, and we're trying to create the experience and ambiance of being one. So I was just really surprised that they hired all of these 50-year-old men as extras for the gay bar club scene. I was like, they couldn't have done better than this.
Well, the one guy
I feel like they missed the mark.
Yeah,
on the gay bar. I mean, they were trying to be like, oh, the gays are just like us, but they're not. Their scene is different.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, the one gay guy who does come up to him doesn't look like he's 50.
No, they got him right. He had 2 earrings.
I bet you
wide gauge with the little balls.
I bet you all of the extras that are in that scene are PAs on the show. They're like, just get in there and just hang out.
Fill up the room. We got to fill up the room somehow.
Or maybe they were like, oh, this is what gays in like New England look like everybody else in New England. Like put on your like
boat
like,
shoes, your
your boat shoes and your like parka vest thingy and like your flannel
I think
shirt.
there was someone wearing suspenders.
I thought Andy had said it was like an Ivy League school, or that it was at least close to that level of Ivy League. So maybe they thought like these are nerdy gays.
Oh no, like all preppy gays.
Or preppy gays.
Like rich preppy gays that are only gay at the gay bar and not when outside of the gay bar.
Yeah.
I think
preppy gays.
we are overthinking this.
Definitely.
And I think we
everything in this show.
We are overthinking this for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so he
gets
goes
hit
to the gay
on.
bar. The one kid.
The one kid who has
tries to
really
pay him attention, tries to buy him a beer.
who has really like dark and super manicured eyebrows. His eyes freaked me out. Like
He was gross too.
I didn't like
He
him.
was not like, he wasn't hot.
He wasn't hot. He creeped me
Yeah,
out
he
a
had
little bit.
whole 90s pop punk vibe.
Yes.
So he tries to buy Jack a beer, and when he turns around, Jack like fucking bolts.
Which I would tell.
Like, this is not my scene.
I don't fucking blame him. Whose scene is that? Whose scene was that?
Oh no. There's nobody's scene that ever existed.
He's like, I'm out of here. Oh
But
my
I felt
God.
bad for him because he went there to like explore his gayness.
I know.
and he
Yeah.
missed
I mean, good for him. Because, I mean, not only to, like, attempt to go to a gay bar for the first time, but then to go by yourself. Like, you know, I was kind of like, good for him. You know, maybe he should have brought Jen along. Maybe Jen should have been on this trip as his wingman or something.
She would have taken him somewhere else. She would have like known the places to go.
Yeah, I feel like Jen could have done a better job of being like, oh, I know, because one time I hooked up with a guy who was a bouncer at a place and did drugs with this other guy, and yeah, that's
See,
Jen.
again, and that's why you want Jen as your friend.
Because Jen knows what's up.
Jen knows
She knows what's up.
Yeah.
Pre-internet era.
Yeah. So it's the next day, and they're all getting on the train to go back to Cape Side. Nikki shows up on the train, and Dawson's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And then we've already touched on this. You know, parents are divorced. Her dad is Principal Green. She's going to finish out the year at Cape Side, and Dawson is like, kind of thinking like, "Oh, great!" Like he's like, I don't know. I couldn't really tell, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be any sort of romantic thing going on between them, but I feel like there always is. Like these shows always do this. And then Joey is walked to the train by AJ, and he's all like, "Can I call you sometime? Can I phone you?" I think he says, "Can I phone you?"
Yeah, he does.
I was like, that's weird. I was like, is that like the way college-aged kids talk? Can I phone you?
Well, I never said that shit.
No.
I mean, I never said that shit either, but I'm just saying, like, I guess they thought if it's
When I lived in London town, sometimes I would say, "Can I phone you?" love?"
Can I phone you on your mobile?
There's no mobiles. It's 94 or whatever.
It's 98,
Can I phone
99.
you on my rotary, darling? after I use the loo.
Wait, yeah, what year is it? It's 99.
It's 99.
Right?
There's mobiles.
All right. But they don't have mobiles. Some of these kids have cell phones.
Can I page you?
Pagers.
then
There we
pagers.
go. There we go.
I had a pager, but prior to 99. I've never seen none of these kids have ever had a pager.
Yeah, none of them have
No.
I
pagers.
guess only drug dealers have pagers.
Yeah, that's what my dad said when I wanted a beeper. We called them beepers.
Yeah.
And I wanted one, and my mom was like, "Okay." And then my dad was like, "Only," my dad said, "Hell no, you ain't getting no beeper. Only doctors and drug addicts, or drug dealers. Only doctors and drug dealers use beepers."
Your dad's not wrong.
Yeah,
And I
your
was
dad's
like,
not
"I'm
wrong.
studying to become a fucking doctor,
Or
Dad."
drug dealer.
Or drug dealer.
I got a beeper. And
Yeah, I got a beeper too.
and I would like do the little encoded messages or the messages that looked like hello if you turn the beeper upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
really cool.
Yeah, really. Yeah, we were all so cool. And then Jack is on the train first, and he's sitting in a foursome type of section on the train, and this boy walks up and he asks, "Are these seats taken?" And Jack's like, "I'm waiting for my friends." And the boy starts to walk away, and Jack's like, "Oh, you know what? Never mind. Come on. I don't even know if they're gonna show up." So this is Jack's first interaction with another fellow gay boy, and this guy's name is Ethan, and he's also headed to Cape Side. And I can't remember what he said why he's going to Cape Side. We know Nikki's going to Cape Side because her dad is Principal Green. But why is Ethan going to Cape Side? I can't remember.
Ethan's a little bit older, and he just broke up with his boyfriend, and
he's from Cape Side.
Yeah, he's going home to like his dad's just to like lick his wounds before he like goes back to school or something.
Oh, okay.
And that's where it comes out that he's gay, because he's like, instead of saying she talking about the breakup, he says he, and Jack's like,
Jack
what?
Jack perks up.
Yeah.
And Ethan easily calls him out on him being gay, and Jack's like, how could you tell? And he's like, "You're pretty obvious."
He said, but not, I wrote down, not like in a raging queen way. That's what he said.
I mean, yeah, Jack is not a raging queen.
Jack is not a raging queen. As Ethan calls him, he's a newbie.
Which is like most gay guys. I mean, how many raging queens, quote unquote, do you know in everyday life? Like, not at Pride.
In everyday life? I know.
Yeah, just existing in the world.
Depends on your definition of raging queen. I could think of a few that we know, but I don't want to name them on this podcast.
Oh, damn, I really want to know. I know one, but he's not a mutual friend of ours. I know him from Dallas. He lives in Brooklyn now, but I originally met him in Dallas.
And I mean, not a literal raging queen, just someone who's very flamboyant. That's what I mean.
Oh yeah, we know a guy. We're all thinking about him right now.
Mm-hmm. Don't
video bitch me.
Don't you video bitch me.
No.
We should edit this part out.
You can say his first name, just don't say his last name.
No. Anyways,
I mean, he wouldn't. And the thing is that he wouldn't disagree. He'd be like, yeah.
No.
When Ethan said that, I think that's what he meant. When he said queen, what he meant was flamboyant. And Jack is not in flamboyant gay.
Not yet,
so
anyway.
If someone's not paying attention, he could pass for straight. But for anybody who's paying attention, he's gay.
Yeah.
I think that's what he meant. What Jack needs and what he's longing for is like not necessarily a hookup, but just like a gay friend. He needs like a gay guy.
He needs
someone to hold his hand and like take him into the world.
Yes.
He needs help.
He needs someone to take him into the gay world.
And I think Ethan recognizes that, but he's also like real reluctant to be that guy. He doesn't want to like take this like young gay guy under his wing.
Well, also as Jack being the newbie gay, I mean, he's probably concerned that Jack is immediately gonna develop feelings for him.
Which is what happens.
Yes. Which is a nice segue into the next episode 11, which is called Barefoot in Cape Side. I'm not quite understanding the titles of these episodes anymore.
No, Barefoot at Cape Fest.
Oh, Barefoot at Cape Fest? Oh, okay, I wrote the title down.
Cape Fest is the music festival that happens
every year.
That we haven't heard about until now.
That none of these kids have gone to.
Cape Fest is like a full-on shit, I can't think right now.
It's like it's supposed to be a music festival.
Yeah, what's the Bonnaroo or the other one?
Coachella.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like that, but Cape Side.
Because it's like on the beach-ish.
Yeah, and everyone camps out.
Everyone camps out.
So, Jack is like at the grocery store and he runs into Ethan at the grocery store. And he's like, what are you doing here? I thought you like went back to wherever you were. And he's like, oh yeah, I did, but I'm back for Cape Fest. And Jack's like, what's Cape Fest? And he's like, which one of us is the one that like lives here all the time? It's like this music festival. And then he like calls him out on his like indie music knowledge. He's like, who's the like bassist for the Foo Fighters?
Yeah,
and
he's like
Courtney Love.
First of all, the Foo Fighters were like very popular at that period in time. I loved them. And the question that he asked was, who's your favorite Foo Fighter?
Oh.
And then Jack was like, Courtney Love. Obviously, it's Dave Grohl. I mean, that's the obvious answer.
Well, for any, I think all of our 10 listeners know who the Foo Fighters are. But just to be clear, Courtney Love is not in the Foo Fighters.
She ain't.
Well, no, but Dave Grohl was in Nirvana.
And that's where Jack got confused.
Right.
I mean, Courtney Love wasn't in Nirvana.
But
she was married to Kurt Cobain.
Was married to Courtney Love.
That's a weird 6 degree. That's weird.
And then Courtney Love killed Kurt Cobain.
That's
right?
weird. 6 degrees to Foo Fighters, man.
and then the Foo Fighters happened after Kurt Cobain killed himself. So they're all in the same family.
Well, my next question after this conversation was, are the Foo Fighters playing Cape Fest?
Yeah. So Here's my next point. So Ethan's like, I'm going to fucking Cape Fest. You should come too. It doesn't really invite him for them to go together, but it's just like, you'll show up.
Well, he was really casual about it. He's like, yeah, a bunch of us go the night before to camp out so we can, get good spots and there's a good vibe that happens or whatever. And he's kind of like, yeah, you should come. You should bring I don't know if he suggests bring friends or whatever, but he just suggests to Jack, like, yeah, it's a good time. If you should check it out. So it doesn't really invite him along, but, hints at him that maybe he should go.
So he shows up with Jen. And they have like a little tent or whatever, and they're showing up and they're setting up their tent. And there's a lot of other stuff. There's some other stuff that happens in this episode, but I really want to pick apart this music festival.
Yeah, me too. It was bothering me because the entire
episode is like boring and inconsequential. Inconsequential.
There you go.
Good job. They show up to this music festival and they set up their tent, and then he runs into Ethan, and Ethan's like by himself, like trying to like set up like a lean-to or just some kind of shelter or whatever.
Yeah, he's like sitting in a tree setting up his tent. And he's like, hey! They reminded me a lot of Ben, actually. That's how you would find Ben. That's my boyfriend, by the way. At a music festival, he'd just be lounging like a cat in a fucking tree, setting up his tent in the sand. Hey guys, alone.
So they go for a walk or whatever, and then they come back to where his stuff is, and of course it's like all stolen because he left it alone. So then he's like, oh well, you can sleep in our tent. So then he goes back to Jen and he's like, Ethan's gonna sleep in our tent because his tent got stolen. So why don't you fucking beat it until like midnight? So then they get in the tent. Jen's like...
Wait, can I say one thing about Jen here?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I made a note about this very thing. I was like, see, this is why you need Jen in your life. And she's a good friend, and she's the fucking bomb. Like, she doesn't even mind wandering around or just going home so that Jack can get his gay on. She's not pissed. She doesn't care.
I think she cares a little bit. Like, she gives him a hard time, but in the end, she's like, all right, fine.
Like, he's going through more of a thing than she is right now. So she's like, okay, fine.
But she does give him a hard time. She's like, why don't I fucking get my tent and put it back in the car and go back to my Graham's house, and I'll see you in the morning. How about that? And he's like...
Oh, I read it as differently. I read it as, oh, okay. How about I get my tent and go back to Graham's? and then meet you in the morning.
No, I heard her sarcasm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, she was giving him, but then she like gives him away. She's like, "Fuck you," but also do your thing.
Yeah.
So they get in the tent, and Jack hopes to like stay up all night, like bonding with this guy. And the minute they get in the tent, he's like, "Okay, good night." And Jack's like, "I thought we were gonna like talk or whatever." And he's like, "The first act is like at daybreak, so turn off the light. Bedtime."
It's
So
night
they just, like,
time.
turn off the light. This stressed me out because I'm like, they didn't have any phones, so like, you're not ready to go to sleep. What do? You just lay there and stare into the dark. You don't even have your phone to look at.
And
You
listen
can't
to
even
the
do a-
stranger sleep.
Yeah, you don't even have like a
Listen to them
podcast
breathe.
or anything. I'm like, how are you going to entertain yourself now? It sucks. And then they wake up in the morning, and then he's like, "Okay, thanks. See you later." And I'm like, wait a minute. The music festival is just starting now. You're not gonna hang out and watch the shows, the bands together. You're just gonna like leave now. Now you're gonna watch the music on your own. Like that was it. And like then there's like a conversation about like, oh well, I thought you liked me. You don't like me. You want my number. You don't want my number. And then Ethan's like basically like, we're not gonna hook up, but like I kind of like you, but you're also like super virginal, so I really can't deal with that. And I don't want to be your like gay guide. And then they like exchange phone numbers and they like go their separate ways. Fine, all that fine, except that it just bugs me that they're like at a music festival together and now they're just gonna part ways so that Ethan can go watch all the music alone for the rest of the day. And there's no music. Meanwhile, we never see any stage, no bands,
Who's
nothing.
playing?
It's just a bunch of people camped out in the sand by the water.
Henry
Playing,
plays.
strumming guitars and making veggie burgers.
Yeah,
and shit.
Henry plays. Henry plays a song. Yeah, I mean, I also found that weird too. Also because this was all Ethan's idea. Like he put this idea into Jack's head to come, and like if I were Jack, I'd be like, oh, okay, so this guy told me about this thing. He said I should go. I would think at the very least, yeah, that we would watch a couple of shows together. Like
Yeah, that we're gonna hang out.
we're gonna
a little
hang
bit.
out, yeah, and. You know, I'm sure,
They don't
yeah.
hang out at all.
I'm sure as a high schooler, I would have been like giddy about it and being like, "Oh, this boy likes me," and then I would have felt extremely rejected if he was like, "Okay, bye."
Even as an adult human, I'd be like, "The fuck!" Like you told me to come to this thing. I come, and then you're just like, "Good to see you. Bye."
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me sleep in your friend's
Yeah, thanks
sleeping
for letting me
bag.
sleep in your tent, but not ever talking or interacting in any way. And now I'm gonna get up in the morning and peace out.
My biggest question was, where did Jen sleep? That's what I was wondering. I guess she might have gone back to the car to sleep in the car.
I think she slept in the car.
But she runs into Henry. We all remember Henry, the boy whose heart she stomped all over.
Yeah.
He's cooking what Cindy referenced.
He's
the
making veggie burgers, and
yeah,
apparently it's like a huge hit at this festival.
yeah,
The veggie burgers.
The
Because he's the only one there that's like making food.
yeah,
Because there's also no music, so it's like everyone's just there.
Everyone's
Yeah.
just camping
For a
and eating
concert,
good
and-
veggie burgers.
Yeah.
and Henry gives her a really cold shoulder, throws shade at her because Jen broke his heart or whatever. And then some point during the night, I guess, so this is after Jack has like kicked Jen out of the tent and she's like walking around and she hears some music and she's like, oh, what's that? So she walks over and she's like her, typical face changes. Like she gets these kind of like doughy eyes and it was like, oh my God, I didn't know Henry had such a beautiful voice. Could like play the music and stuff.
I didn't know I could play the music. Stop. Oh my God.
And she tries to, I don't know what, she tries to like be friends with him. She like approaches him and is like, I said I thought we could be friends. And Henry's like, I don't want to be your fucking friend.
He's like, fuck you, bitch.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to be friends. I want to be more. And you clearly don't want to be more than friends. So that's it. Like, no.
Then she keeps going back.
Yes.
Just
Oh,
leave
yes.
the boy alone.
I know.
Let him play
That's
his
what.
little guitar. Let him make his little veggie burgers and leave his ass alone.
I know. That's what irritated me about this. I was like, Jen, just leave the poor kid alone. Like, God, you're just continuing to string him along. Like, I mean.
Yeah, and respect boundaries. If someone says fuck off, just fuck off.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
I mean, she says stuff to him like, oh, I've been really missing you. And Henry's like, you've been missing me? We haven't spoken in a month. Like, you haven't given me any sign that you...
He's like, I've intentionally been giving you the silent treatment and you haven't even noticed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, that hurts. When you've intentionally not been saying anything to someone and then they just pop up to get a veggie burger and they're like, hey, we're friends. What's going on? We're like best friends, right?
Yeah, she hasn't like thought about him at all, and he's been like secretly hoping that she'll notice that he's not talking to her, and she just like forgot he existed until she saw him, and she's like, "Oh, I'm hungry. Veggie burger?
Ooh, he smelled good."
She's like, "Oh, you're the life of the party. You got some veggie burgers and a guitar.
And a guitar?
I miss you.
I miss
Give me a veggie burger."
Yeah. I mean, so I'm on Henry's side as far as that whole thing goes.
Me too. And I like Jen. And Jen is that bitch to me, but not in this episode.
I am warming up to Jen. I mean, although I think I said this before, like I don't have any really strong feelings about any of these characters, but I don't mind Jen. I'm glad.
I have very, very passionate feeling about Dawson and Joey.
Yeah, we know.
It keeps me up at night. my anger and rage at these two.
I mostly just have a problem with Dawson. Joey sort of vacillates in some upcoming episodes. I'm like, bitch, chill the fuck out. But Dawson is just always a prick. He's unwavering in his prickiness.
He's a useless main. I mean, he's like the subject of the whole show.
But he's a total masshole. He's a total masshole.
Yeah, but I'm just saying he's a waste of like a titular character.
Ooh,
he's a waste.
Mm-hmm. Look at that word.
Big word.
I know. Look at that word.
I studied up before tonight's podcast. I've been reading the dictionary and everything. But he's a waste of like a main character and viewpoint.
Yeah, I don't know why the show is about him, because it's so much more about the other characters, and he's just kind of irritatingly there with his existential crises all the time. I'm like, hey, guess what? Some of your friends are having actual crises, and you're just still like worried about your identity, which carries over into the next episode.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
A part of it begins in this episode.
Yes.
I wrote it down. I'm like, Dawson has existential crisis and gets rid of all of his Spielberg memorabilia, because he didn't do so well in that film competition. I mean, he bombed at the film competition in the episode before. This Nikki girl has kind of becoming his like frenemy, because she's also an aspiring filmmaker, and now she's at Cape Side, and like I can't remember if it's in this episode or the next. I mean, because I'm gathering from all of us that the real important part of this episode was Cape Fest and what happens with Jen and Henry, and more importantly Jack and Ethan. And Dawson is just, his whole thing is like unimportant or just not interesting. And then what happens with Andy, and because Pacey's in this episode. So Andy tries to become the assistant director of the school play, and turns out Pacey's trying out for the lead. And so their whole story is how they're going to be able to work together on this play. And then Dawson just rips up his childhood bedroom and tries to grow up, I guess, because Nikki is like, you're just like
Well,
a Spielberg ripoff.
Nikki brought up a very valid point. And she was like, because Dawson went into her room because he went over to her house. And then Principal Green came out and was like, come on, everybody have dinner. And they were like, nah, I don't want to. And then he forced everyone to have dinner. And then Dawson meandered up into Nikki's room for some fucking reason.
Well,
and he noticed,
I don't know why, but his coat was in there. Like he was looking for his coat, and it ended up in her bedroom.
But I was like, "Ooh, her room's cool," and it had a bunch of like cool art on the wall.
She had the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill poster on her wall.
That was my favorite. I wore that CD out. It like skipped permanently. That's how many times I listened to it.
I mean, that's a good album. It's still a good album.
It's still a good album.
Yeah.
So he was like, I noticed that for a filmmaker, an aspiring filmmaker, you certainly don't have a lot of film posters on your wall. And she was like, well, I like other things, and sometimes the other things that interest me actually make me a better filmmaker. I love these conversations between high schoolers, BT dubs, but she's not filmmaker. She's like, yeah, sometimes these other things make me a better filmmaker. And that like clicked something in Dawson's brain. And then he went home and he tore down all of his Spielberg posters. As if that's going to like change him. And Joey comes in through the window. This was the very end of the episode. And
so this was after he's ripped everything off, right? Like,
yeah, he's still got like a Jaws poster up on one wall, but he's like in the middle of taking everything down. And she's like, what are you doing? And he was like, well, I was at Nikki's house and she was just saying, and he had this whole diatribe. And then Joey flips the fuck out. And she's like, why aren't you talking to me about these things? What do you think? You can just take down everything in your room and then be a different person? I'm here if you want to. And I was like, whoa, Joey, fucking relax, bruh. All he's doing is redecorating his fucking room.
Redecorating?
Can't you let the boy redecorate, for fuck's sake?
But his room is his identity. Like, this is... like, these posters on the wall are Dawson, and he's ripping it all down, and he's not talking to her about it.
I hate Joey.
Yeah, we know.
I hate her.
I mean, she's super insecure because she sees him, like, bonding with this other chick, and this other chick, like, says something that resonates with him, and, like, nothing that Joey has said has resonated with him in, like, months. So she's, like, all pissed off about it.
Also, I think Dawson... in the way that Spielberg is a part of Dawson's identity, I think Dawson is a part of Joey's identity. And when he starts changing his identity, then she has a real problem adjusting to that. Because now who is she?
Wow.
Right?
Such a great observation. So in depth.
Butterfly notes for that one.
Yeah.
She's one of these chicks that bases her identity off of her love interests.
Which
but
has been,
last episode Gecko Eyes.
It's been that way since the beginning of the show.
Yeah, but she knows it.
Joey's always done that. Yeah, and and so I think you were kind of headed towards kind of one of the final scenes of the episode. Joey comes back, and she admits that her jealousy gets the better of her sometimes, and she's brought with her the John Lennon image. Is that the album cover, I'm assuming? Or is
not the original album cover. I think that was when they redid it many years later, that was the new album cover.
Okay. She hands him that poster, which is now what is sitting up over his bed. And I mean, to my surprise too, I mean, this goes back to fucking Paula Cole not licensing her song for this show. They were somehow able to get the rights to Imagine.
Who was running that? Because John Lennon's been dead since 79 or something.
I mean, his son?
His estate is still in charge of licensing out that music.
I know.
Paula Cole just like was not interested. That's it. Everybody else is like, sure, right?
Sure,
Whatever.
Dawson's Creek. Why not?
Give us $500. Give us
Aight.
$1,000. You can do it. Paul Cole was like,
I
this
mean-
is the embarrassment of my lifetime, so I'm just gonna say no.
Okay, so all right, if that's the deal, I mean, she must have just priced herself out because she was like, I'm just going to make it insane for them to that they're not going to agree to whatever price I'm going to put on this fucking song. I mean, because also Dawson's Creek is now up on Netflix. And I mean, some more and more of these streaming services are syndicating the show. And so all these people who have licensed their songs for whatever episode it lands in, they're just, they're making more money off of it. I would just think that, I mean, it's crazy that her, whatever pride Paula Cole has, that it's not, not enough.
Listen. Here's what you don't understand.
Tell me.
John Lennon, okay? Not an artist. Paula Cole, okay? A real musician and artist. She doesn't sell out.
I mean, that song, Imagine, is such a good song, and it has such a strong message. And yet...
And very little to do with that end scene of
nothing.
Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, but I mean, that song has gone beyond generations, and yet Paula Cole is like, fuck, no. I'm like, what?
Paula Cole is imagining like a different future for herself.
I mean,
Imagine
that
all the people.
I mean, that song.
Listening to Paula Cole.
I mean, that song, Imagine, is gonna just go down in the history of music beyond anything that Paula Cole ever did. And yet Paula Cole is like, nope, you can't have my song.
I mean, yeah, if I was Paula Cole, I'd be like, paycheck?
Yes,
please.
that's what I'm saying. Like, her pride costs way
What else
more
is going
than
on right now? Nothing.
Exactly.
Paula Cole, who's that?
Is she
And
alive?
that too. Like, this is what I don't understand. It just it blows my mind. My mind.
So I never watched Dawson's Creek growing up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know Paula Cole did the original theme song, or they used her theme song.
Mhm.
But how'd it go? Sing it.
I don't want to wait
So
Oh.
our lives to be over. I want to know right now. Will it
You don't have
be?
the rights.
Oh, fuck. Sorry. Oh, my God, Paula. I don't have the money to pay you for this.
I'm gonna have to
The
bleep.
millions of dollars.
I'm gonna have to
request.
bleep all of that out, yo.
Fuck.
All right, are we done with this music festival thing?
Yeah, I think we're done. I mean,
So wait, what? Henry and Jen. They kind of reconcile a little bit.
they kind of
and Jen's
reconcile
like,
a
you know
little
what?
bit.
I think I do like you because you make veggie burgers and you play the guitar. So maybe I want to string you along a little more. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone else. I mean, Dawson and Joey, blah blah blah, whatever. Andy and Pacey. I mean, they kind of worked through the whole working together on the play. Neither of them refused to like give up their particular roles. Andy's not going to quit being the assistant director, and Pacey's not going to quit being the lead, and so they kind of work it out, find a way to work together on the play. And then the show ends with John Lennon's Imagine.
And Joey, helped Dawson find some cool new sconces for the walls and some other cool stuff. Because she finally was like, okay, I can accept that you're redecorating. It's fine.
New sconces for the wall?
Yeah.
She made that up. All right, season 3,
episode
12, A Weekend in the Country. Also, which I didn't get either in the beginning. I thought the title of this episode led me to believe they were all going to get away for the weekend. But what it really meant was that everyone's going to just
go down the street to Joey's B&B.
Go down the street to Joey's B&B.
So
I'm
gonna say.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead, Victoria.
Oh, so Joey and Bessie turned their house into a B&B because it was their mother's dream, but also because they need to make money because their dad's back in prison. And the ice house burned down. This is all Dawson's fault, by the way. But we're all forgetting that.
Let's not forget.
Joey has also forgotten that Dawson is the one who got her dad put back into prison, but she's still like pining over him,
and also blaming it on Pacey. She keeps saying that this was Pacey. Pacey pushed her into this dream and accomplishing this dream.
I didn't quite remember that part either, that this whole B&B was Pacey's idea.
Yeah, I don't remember it being his idea
that
either.
Shit.
But he's like helped her all the way because for the last several episodes they've been like prepping for this, and now the B&B is open. Again, this takes me back to 1-800 Red Roof Inn because they opened the B&B, but I'm like, how are they advertising? How are they getting any traction at all? Because there's no social media. You can't put an ad on, you can't start an Instagram. So I'm like, did they put an ad in like the yellow pages? Because like they're open. All of a sudden she's like, okay, we're done. And now we're open. And she's just like sitting by the phone waiting for it to ring. And I'm like, who is going to call?
Well, yeah,
and, like,
I mean.
People knock on the door randomly. And she's like, oh my God, we have guests. Like people just showed up and knocked on the door. But it's like some like Bible thumpers who are like, have you accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? And she's just like makes an awkward look at them for like a minute and a half and like takes their pamphlet. But yeah, she blames Pacey for pushing her into following this dream, even though it's all Dawson's fault. But they're also like way ahead of their time because it's like this super crazy concept that they're opening their home for strangers to live in it. And guess what? It's called Airbnb.
Well, B&Bs bed and breakfasts have always existed.
Yes, they have. But the fact that one would just spontaneously turn their home into one is like a radical concept in 20 years ago. Now it's not.
I don't know. I think people always did that. I think owners always lived like upstairs or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they would turn, if they had like a big Victorian home or something.
Yeah, I kind of always thought that's how B&Bs operated, was that.
No, they don't.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Don't most B&Bs operate that way where the owners live on site? Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Now, the idea of a B&B is not new or radical, and it's not new or radical in the 90s. It's just kind of a radical idea to like all of a sudden
convert,
just open up your
for a 16-year-old and a 21-year-old whose baby daddy is just vanished into the night sky for them to open a fucking bed and breakfast in Cape Side. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Wait. No, he's not. He's not a different actor from.
Are you sure?
From the scene when Joey's dad gets taken to prison, it's the same actor.
But wait, from the
very first season was played by someone else. Yes.
Yeah. They just didn't give a fuck about this black guy. They just didn't care.
All right. I was kind of hoping y'all wouldn't have dropped the ball on Bodhi coming back, but too late. So Pacey's grand idea is to get some hotel travel reviewer to come stay at the B&B.
Fred Fricky. What kind of name is this?
And meanwhile, Joey's freaking out because Bessie's considering taking out a mortgage on the house. And she's all like, you can't do that. I'm not going to give you my permission. And Bessie's like, excuse me. Who's the official caregiver here? Who's the official guardian? Me, not you. So this is really my decision to make. And so not only has Pacey invited this New York Times reviewer to come, but he's also enlisted everyone else to come and pretend to be guests. So this is another episode where we bring everyone together Grams is staying, Joey, or
The whole gang.
Jen and Jack and Andy and even Dawson's parents and Dawson and everyone's just in the house or in the B&B.
And I was like, when that happened, I was like, Joey doesn't deserve the friends that she has. Do you know how much work it takes to like bring everyone together and get a hold of Fred Fricky?
From the New York
Do you know how hard it is to get a hold of Fred Fricky? It's fucking hard.
Joey has been kind of a bitch the last several episodes, and in this one, she's especially fucking bitchy. And I get that she's like freaked out because like she's worried that her sister's gonna like mortgage the house and then lose it, and they're gonna be homeless. But even her sister's like, chill the fuck out, bitch. And she's like, no, I'm just going to be a raging fucking cunt for this whole fucking episode. And my friends and their parents are coming together to help us, like, get this business off the ground. But I'm still going to be a fucking bitch about it. Whole episode.
The whole episode. She's like, we don't even have the pancakes down. We can't even make fucking pancakes. And you're bringing in Fred fucking Fricky.
She's even, like, kind of a bitch to Fred when he shows up. I know this isn't what you fucking... highbrow 5-star shit that we're used to. I'm like, Joey,
is that what she actually said?
Calm the fuck down.
Is that what Joey actually said?
I
know that this is a highbrow fucking shit that area.
Yeah, she definitely dropped an F-bomb for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because he shows up and she's all flustered, and then he's like, it's cold in here, and like, I don't know, he makes a couple of comments.
And there's no ensuite to his room. And he's like, oh, I have to use the communal bathroom down the hall? Okay. This is going great.
It is a trailer with some bedrooms added onto the back. So no, there's no ensuite. And I think he says ensuite, and she's like, what the fuck is an ensuite? Like, what kind of French are you talking? And then he like leaves to go into town for dinner, and she's like all bent out of shape. And when he shows up in the evening, she rips him a new one, and he's like,
she rips Fred Fricky a new one?
He comes back, and she was like, I know it's what you expected, but we try our best, and we're just not ready yet. Like, she's all fucking pissy. She's like PMSing the whole episode. Like, just take it down a notch. I get that you're stressed out and you're frustrated, and this is all a big deal, but just calm down.
So
she stressed me out. It stressed me out. The whole episode stressed me out. I'm like, oh my God, like you're ruining it for yourself.
This episode didn't
self-sabotage, yo.
This episode didn't stress me out only because there were just so many like, well, I guess there were two major scenes that just like cracked me up. I mean, I don't know if there's anything in between this part that we want to talk about, but all the men are around the fire place and they're trying to figure out how to light the fire. I mean, like all of them, like Mitch, Dawson, Pacey, Jack, they're all like standing around. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. And Grams is like, oh, you got to do it like this. And she just shows all the men what's up and gets the fire going. And then this like really heartfelt, like, kumbaya situation starts where they all talk about memories, and Graham starts the really I don't know.
Well, it's about scents. Like
yeah, they get on.
Oh man, the crackling firewood smell reminds me of blank. And then Dawson was like, they say that scent is the most powerful memory.
They all wax poetic about some memory that they have. They're all talking in like, I don't know, like they're reading fucking poems and shit. And then like Fred Fricky comes back and he just like walks in on this scene. Yeah, he walks in on this lovely, heartwarming scene, and I don't know.
But also, I just try to put myself in Fred Fricky's position this entire episode, right? He comes to just review this B&B, and it's cold as shit, and then the toilet clogs, And then the furnace blows up and there's all this smoke coming out of the air vents. And he's like, God damn, what the fuck? So he goes to get dinner and he comes back and there's an entire living room full of teenagers talking about the smell of bacon and the and new car smell. And he's like,
But can I also point out that from the jump, this Airbnb, from his perspective, is run by a bunch of teenagers.
Exactly.
Plus Bess, who's like 25.
Bessie.
Beanie.
Whatever her Beanie.
Whatever her name is.
This Airbnb is, I'm sorry, it's not an Airbnb. B&B is run by Bessie, who is 25, and a whole host of teenagers.
The entire high school there.
And not like 19-year-olds or 20-year-olds, but like 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like actual going through puberty teenagers. And he's got some complaints, and Joey's just PMSing all over this guy, sitting in the corner, like pouting and just like, ugh. Yeah, so from Fred Fricky's, if I showed up there, I'd be like, the fuck is this?
Yeah, what in the actual fuck is going on?
Yeah,
where are the adults?
There.
I mean, Fred Fricky is supposed to be like older, 45, maybe 50.
Yeah,
I think he's supposed to be older.
Yeah, there's a total of 4 people over the age of 40 there. Everybody else is 25 or less.
So I'd be like, what's happening here? I'm in like it's like a fucking
Show up and it's like a hostel essentially. You're like, I thought this was like a quaint Airbnb, and this is a hostel. Full of
and then they're
kids.
all in the living room in front of the fire talking about smells.
Well, that's supposed to be the Airbnb vibe. Is that you're staying or God, I gotta stop.
You keep
Airbnb.
saying it.
Yeah.
I know I do. It's supposed to be the B&B vibe that you're like. It's like a hotel, you have a private room, but you're also like staying with everybody. It's like a group activity. So
it's supposed to be communal
together and like hang out together. And,
yeah.
Like, so yeah, like the idea is that not only when you stay there do you have a room and a toilet and some breakfast, but you also like have an experience, and the experience is like reminiscing with teenagers. Teenagers have a lot to reminisce about.
Smells that they smelled once when they were 6.
Yeah, like when I was a kid 5 years ago, I remember my mom used to make bacon. Cool. Super deep.
Well, so then they all go to bed, and then they wake up, and like...
Well, Joey tells them all to go home. Because she's had enough, because she tells her story about how this was her mom's dream to open a B&B, and she just wanted to do this before her mom died, and the house is like going under because they took out a mortgage. So she told them all to go home. And then she went to bed. She's like, you guys can just like drop the act now and go the fuck home. She actually said that.
Go the fuck home?
Yeah, and just drop the act and like go the fuck home and like thanks for all your help. And then she goes to bed and wakes up thinking that they all went home.
Oh, okay.
Cut to
the next morning. And she walks into the kitchen and everyone is dancing while they're making breakfast. And I burst out laughing. I was like, oh my God. Really?
Because it was so horrifically awkward to watch. I watched it and I was like, oh my God. Like if I were Joey or Fred Fricky, I would be horrified to see these children flipping around flapjacks and fucking trying to dance with their carpenter jeans on.
Oh, carpenter jeans. I had a pair of those.
It was painful.
Yes, it was painful. It was I couldn't help but laugh at it. I was laughing at it. And they all sit down and
But Fred Fricky's still there.
Fred Fricky
and now
sticks
he's
it out.
Totally supporting this whole cause because he overheard Joey say that shit about her mom.
What bothered me, a lot of things bothered me about this whole scene, but one of the things that bothered me was that Joey comes down in like her tank top and her pajama pants. As the like host at this B&B, like she should not be coming down in her pajamas when there's a Fred Fricky here.
Did she think that Fred Fricky just left when he went to get dinner, or?
No, because Fred Fricky came back and walked in on the heartwarming fireplace scene.
Yeah, but no one saw that.
No one saw what?
Did she talk to him? Oh, she did. She left the room and then... Wait, okay. They were all in front of the fireplace. Fred Fricky came back and was standing in the hall, and he overheard Joey talk about this shit with her mom and how she was like doing this all for her mom, who died. Did she talk to Fred Fricky on her way up to the bedroom? And that's when she was like, sorry, and it's like, wasn't what you wanted. I think she did.
Okay.
Yeah, no, she did. He came in and she saw that he overheard this, and she was like, I know this isn't what you thought. This isn't the 5-star shit that you thought you were going to get, but this is our best attempt. And then she's like, okay, everybody, go fuck yourself, and goes to bed.
And then, she knew Fred Fricky was still there.
She assumed that she went to bed and, like, everybody left, and Fred Fricky got in his fucking car and drove back to fucking Boston.
In the middle.
There because it was, like, midnight and he was fucking tired.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the middle of the night.
And he was probably wasted. He probably got drunk at dinner.
Yeah, he went to the fucking downtown Cape Side and got hammer time, and he was ready for bed. And he was like, why is this teenager fucking giving me some life lessons? I just want to go to bed.
So, I mean, that was, I mean, okay. So I guess if she expected that no one was going to be there, you know, I guess, okay, fine. She comes down in her tank top and her pajama pants. But even still realizing that he's there, I would have been, if I were Joey, I would have been like, oh, shoot, I should probably not be down braless in my sleep
I noticed that. The
tank
first
top.
thing she came down and I was like, bitch, you are not dressed.
Yeah.
Put on some clothes. I'll put on a sweater at least. Let's just, come on, sweater time. Also, it had been like the coldest night of the year the night before, and there was no heat. Everyone's freezing. Yeah, and she's running around in like a little stringy tank top and like little pajama pants. I'm like, cold?
She's such an asshole. Joey is such
a robe or your sweater or whatever. Like, why are you running around?
I actually texted people about Joey when I watched that episode.
What?
About how much I hated her. Yeah. Ben. I texted Ben. I was like, I fucking can't stand Joey. Joey is such a bitch.
Oh my gosh.
He was like, I don't care about these person that is not real.
Well, Ben's so nice. He was like, yeah, I hate her too.
So they're all like eating breakfast and everything. And Joey like takes a bite of the pancakes and she's like, wait a second. What's going on? Because Bessie, even at your best, these pancakes would still suck. I'm like, ooh, that's rude. And she turns around and fucking Bodhi is back. I dropped my jaw. I was like, what? Oh my God. I dropped my jaw, y'all.
Actually, so did I. I gasped.
Yes, me
like,
too.
Oh my God,
where's he been?
Where has he been?
What?
Where has he been?
Okay, so
MIA with the child.
Okay, I had to look this up because I was like, what the fuck? And because they're gonna bring him back and not explain like where he's been. Like
he's been like working on the railroad or something.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, right? After Joey and Bessie's dad get taken to prison, he's in that scene. But after that, we don't see him ever again, right? And there's no explanation as to where he went to, what he's doing, like, right? We don't hear anything about it.
Nah, I never heard from Bodhi.
Okay, so on the interwebs, there are threads out there that say that he was on some Florida cruise, that he's been working as a chef on a cruise line.
With the kid?
No, the
No.
kid's been with Bessie.
Well, where's the kid been?
With Bessie.
In the other room.
Yeah, in the other room.
Oh. This whole time? For months?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
But that he has been on a fucking cruise ship this whole time, like chefing it up. And I was
But
like,
but that's in like a thread online. But there's never been any hint to that in the show.
Right.
Or was there?
So,
no.
not that I remember.
Not that I remember.
Because when he comes back, now they reference, they're like, oh, the chef came back and made the pancakes. So, like, apparently he's a chef.
He was a chef. He was the cook at the ice house. He was the chef at the ice house. I mean, like I said, I found it on the interwebs, on some Dawson's Creek forum.
But how do they know that?
Well, one of them said like that whole scene that explained that he was going on a Florida cruise ship to be a chef, like hit the cutting room floor. Like it got cut from the show or something. So, I mean, who knows if that's true or not, but
It's all speculation.
that's all speculation. But, at least there's something out there that might explain where Bodhi's been this whole time. I mean, I always knew that he was the chef because he was the cook at the ice house. He was the chef at the ice house. And in any time you saw him in any scene where he wasn't in the restaurant, he was always cooking or always making food. So that was always a part of his character. So, of course, to keep it somewhat consistent, he's the chef and he's back. And then there's some wholesome scene at the end of this episode of Bessie and Bodhi and their baby out on the random pier, because everyone's on a pier, having a lovely glass of wine with the baby on the knee.
Yeah, even the baby was having wine.
Yeah. And so Fred Fricke loves the B&B.
Yeah, now he's all about it.
He's all about it.
He said these are the best pancakes in the county.
So it sounds like the B&B is going to be saved. They're going to get a nice review from Fred Fricke.
Fred Fricke.
Yeah. Some other major things that happen is that Jack is going to move back into the house with Andy because he explains to Jen and Grams, he's like, y'all gave me a home and a sense of family, and now I have to do that for Andy because she's living in the house with my dad who's barely there, and she's just lonely. And
I saw that scene, and I feel for her and the whole situation, and I kind of felt like Andy should move in with Jen and Jack and Grams.
Yeah.
Rather than Jack moving back into that. Because once again, we're back where we started with those two, which you've got two teenagers who are like raising themselves because their mom, I don't know what happened to her. Is she still like crazy pants bedridden, or did she die? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then dad, who's just like a fucking asshole.
Yeah. Who apparently isn't there a lot still. Like he's still like off traveling.
Let's just call CPS already and get this over with.
So Jack's gonna move back in, and then Pacey's like, so it's nighttime now, and Pacey's kind of like running around the B&B looking for Joey, I guess just kind of wrap things up or whatever, and he finds Joey passed out on the couch, and he goes over and he kind of tucks her in a little bit, and then I think a few other things happen, right? I mean, I don't remember what else. I mean, Dawson is still fucking crying over his parents' divorce.
Oh, yeah. So this was a plot point when Dawson's parents, and I wrote.
Yeah, Dawson
I wrote this
is saying a
down.
little bit about his parents' divorce in this whole episode.
Yeah.
And it drove me up a wall. Him trying to like teach his parents what's acceptable and what is unacceptable about their relationship and friendship. And it was gross.
Like, you don't know. His parents are playing along with as Airbnb, or God damn it.
Jesus Christ, stop.
Can't stop saying it. His parents are playing along as B&B guests and they're pretending to be a newlywed or married couple. And this immediately just like sticks in Dawson's craw. He can't handle it. And then he confronts him and he's like, don't you think it's confusing to me that you're doing this? And they're both like,
I wrote down the actual quote.
We're trying
Don't
to
you
help
think
out.
it might be a little confusing, even hurtful, for a child of divorce to see his parents play acting a happy marriage? And I wanted to punch him so hard in the face. They're just like doing this to fill space in the fucking B&B. Mm-hmm. This has nothing to do with you, asshole. And then like Dawson's mom, Gail, didn't tell Dawson about some stuff with her, like she's been having trouble finding work. And she told her ex-husband, Mitch, about it because they're still friends and they have a fucking child together and they're both adults. And then when Dawson and Mitch were sitting on the pier talking, Dawson was like, she didn't tell me about that. Yeah, exactly. Because you're the son. She doesn't have to fucking tell you everything that's going on in her adult life. What? You're not entitled to anything.
What both Mitch and Gail do is they open Dawson's eyes to the fact that their relationship, because they've been in a relationship for so long, and even though they're divorced now, if they can try to be friends, good. But it's always going to be like a work in progress. And like Mitch doesn't say it as directly as Gail, but Gail's like, I mean, this is kind of like you and Joey, right? And Dawson's like, oh, I heard that even when
totally, we're both 15 and we don't have children.
No, but I mean Dawson and Joey have known each other since they were babies, and they've been in a relationship and then out of a relationship and then trying to figure out how to be friends after their relationship, which is exactly what Gail and Mitch are trying to do, except on an adult level. And yes, I agree. Like Dawson, just fucking butt out. Like, let your parents figure it out. And what, I don't know. I don't come from a house of divorce. I don't know what it's like at all. But I would rather have my parents, if my parents were to have gotten divorced, I think I would have preferred them to figure it out and be friendly and cordial to each other instead of fighting. And
I mean, I don't understand Dawson in this entire fucking like situation. He's so distraught that his parents are divorced in the first place. I actually wrote down something from one of the other episodes. Hang on. Oh, he was talking to Joey or something, and he was like, the disappointment of being a product of something that didn't work out.
Oh, he said that to Nikki. He said that
Nikki, yeah. And I was like, is this really what kids thought? Because I fucking didn't think that. There wasn't like a part of me at all that felt like a reflection on my parents not working out.
I mean,
I just didn't see it as like a thing that it wasn't my issue.
At least in TV and movies, that's a major theme that's always a part. I feel like I've heard that like that line before, like, kids feeling like it's their fault that their parents got divorced,
But I never actually met. I mean, I am one, and a lot of my friends are, but we've never they never felt or expressed that they felt this way at the time. It's just like, it sucks that your life the life that you knew is suddenly changing in drastic ways, but it was never like a reflection on them. They never felt like it was their fault.
Maybe, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a romantic way for television and film to portray it that way.
It's like typical Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, but okay. I mean that idea is seen in other TV and movies. It's not specific to It's not a brand new idea that the writers of Dawson's Creek thought up. That a child would feel that that it's their fault, or that they are somehow a reason for their parents getting divorced or whatever. But I mean, I think what I was trying to say before was that both Mitch and Gail have pointed out to Dawson that, similar to you and Joey, we're still trying to figure out, still just trying to figure out this crazy game of life.
And he was like, oh,
Oh,
now it all makes sense.
yeah.
He's like, I have been redecorating my room a lot lately, so, like, I get it. I'm just trying to figure out this crazy game of life.
Exactly. It's crazy game of life, bro. So the final scene is that we see Joey. It's all snugly on the couch in front of the fire, and then it slowly pans out, and you see Pacey sitting in that rocking chair just staring at her. So it leads the viewer to believe that a little something's happening.
It's brewing.
It's brewing.
Something's brewing.
So Grams had mentioned earlier about her like husband, or her husband used to watch her by the fire. That's what the reference is. Like she was talking about her love story and how she's like, you know that you love somebody when you can just sit by the fire and watch them sleep. So then it closes out with Lucy just sitting by the fire and watching.
Staring.
I totally forgot about Grams' story. I'll be honest, when that whole Kumbaya fire scene happening, I kind of was fast forwarding through it because I was like, this is too cheesy. I can't take it.
Well, yeah,
I don't want to listen.
It 10 minutes before we recorded the podcast.
No, I wasn't.
Lacking time.
No, I wasn't trying to get through it because I was running late. I was trying to get through it because I didn't want to watch this stupid scene. I was like, this is too much cheese. I can't take it.
Well, you missed something really crucial.
So I missed something really crucial. Note for the future. I mean, I don't normally do that, but all right, guys. So I think we're done, right?
Yeah, I think we're done here.
Yeah, we're done. Victoria was like, I wanted this to be done an hour ago.
And she's like, that's why I'm going to lint roll myself.
Yeah.
And then rip the lint roll.
Another reason why that's going to stay on. That's why it's going to stay in the show. Because no respect for the podcast. Just, lint roll yourself.
I mean, total disrespect.
Rip it off. Make the ripping noise. That's good. That's fine.
Complete disrespect.
Let's end the show. I'm Melissa.
Now she's lounging with her leg in the air.
I'm Melissa. I'm trying to do the close.
She's like lint rolling her butthole right now on Google Hang. It's totally disrespectful.
Yeah, it really is. And of course, because it's a podcast, we have to verbalize what we're seeing.
That's what I'm seeing.
So our
butthole being lint rolled.
So our listeners
cannot see my butthole.
I can see your entire butthole.
You can't. We're in
it's rude and it's disrespectful.
I'm fully clothed.
We are Basic Teen TV.
Okay, bye.
My name is Melissa.
Victoria.
I'm Cindy.
This has been the show. Bye.
Bye.
See you next week.